To tell you, programs like this could never, ever, ever happen if it wasn't for a Board of Education that supports each and every student in the district and all the alums and whatever. So I'd like the Board of Education to individually stand up to be recognized. Board member John Simons is here. John, thanks so much. Or wave, one of the two. Stand or waved. Mary Cleveland, board member. Gina Ruffin-Moore, right on time. Gina, thanks for standing. Board Vice President Susan Wider. And Board President Dr. Lillian Hawkins. Earlier today, I made a few comments at the mural dedication. I talked about not being from Princeton. And then I also talked about having two children that have already graduated from Princeton. My daughter graduated in 17, graduated from University of Cincinnati and is duly employed, thankfully, right, Franca Burton? Isn't that awesome that our daughter's working and out of the house? That's tremendous. Our oldest son, our middle child, Bryce, plays for UC football right now, which is good, kind of a big win last night. And our youngest son is a senior. And I want to talk about Tommy for a second. And I do this in the context of the diversity of athletes we have in this room and how Princeton is so very special and what Princeton is all about. When I first came to Princeton 6 years ago, I'm starting my 7th school year, but 6 years ago I kept hearing about the Princeton advantage and that it means something. And that, Tom, you're going to find out what the Princeton advantage is. And so my daughter was very definitive with what she wanted, and so was Bryce, or middle. He was very definitive of what he wanted, but Tommy wasn't 100% sure what he wanted. So he ran cross country his freshman year, fell in love with water polo, and I said, Tommy, you have to swim to play water polo. But he's actually could swim and did great. And actually, our water polo team last year finished second in the state, which is great. First time we played for the state championship since 1983, so that was awesome to bring that great, beautiful tradition back. But then COVID hit, and then they moved water polo to the spring. So what does Princeton do? Princeton provides opportunities. So Tommy went to play golf, which is awesome. Now, I was hoping that water polo was going to be in the spring this year so that Tommy could play football so that he could get 4 varsity letters in 4 sports in 4 separate years. That would have been something special right there. That would have been 100% all Princeton. But you see, that's what we do at Princeton. And many of you have had great stories, and I love the fact that watching some of the inductees tonight go talking to former teachers or principals and hearing all the stories. I'm so very proud to serve as superintendent. It is my pleasure, my blessing to do so. And tonight is about much more than just those being inducted, although it's awesome, right? A beautiful tennis team, 2 individuals that could be here, a great 3-sport athlete, football legend. Very, very excited about that. In fact, Joe and I were just talking about tonight about getting your jersey up where it belongs in the rafters. You know, great things. So we're going to make that happen for sure. All-American, parade All-American. That's something special. That's awesome. But the reason why it's about much more than just the athletes that are here, it's the support staff. And I say support staff because you guys work. So it's the moms, the dads, the brothers, the aunts, the uncles, the friends that lift up those that got inducted or will be inducted tonight. So for all of you, I say thank you for all the great support you gave to the great Princeton athletes that are going to be inducted tonight. I appreciate you guys being here. We have homecoming going on right next door. So Mr. Balmer, who is so incredibly supportive, sends his very, very best right now. But I would also like to have all the staff members at Princeton, if you could just please stand as well. So Tricia Roddy, our Director of Communications. Thank you. Tom Cindre, Director of Data and Strategic Analytics. Temet Duckworth, who's our Assistant Athletic Director. And maybe the best athlete in the room, sorry everybody, Dr. Mary Phillips, Associate Superintendent. She plays a 5 USTA. It's amazing. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to bring Joe back. But Joe's leadership has been incredible. His 3rd year. He's done wonderful things here. He will continue to do that. He is kid-centric, and that's what we need, and certainly appreciate him. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Burton. If we could just for a moment, we may have a moment of silence for our departed and fallen Hall of Famers. Thank you. Our induction class this evening will include Stanley Browder, class of 1977, Brittany Dowdy, class of 2005, John Russell, class of 2002, and our 2003 boys state champion tennis team. To begin this evening, Stanley Browder, class of 1977. Stanley was passionate about sports and school and all they had to offer. He said everyone as a kid has daydreams in which he catches the touchdown pass or stops a play at the goal line as time expires to win the game. Off the field, he was quiet, personable, and a modest young man with a dry sense of humor, and on the field, he was a fierce competitor. That's the kind of competitor Stanley was. He was at his best against the best. He was a three-sport star: football, basketball, and track and field. He was a 3-year varsity football starter at linebacker and alternated at fullback. And I'm going to stop real quick because 3-year varsity starter for Coach Mancuso, that legend continues. There are very few sophomores that got on that playing field, let alone started with Coach Mancuso during those eras. So that's quite an accomplishment there. He was co-captain of our football team starting his sophomore year, played in all 10 games calling defensive signals his first year. His senior year, the team went 9-1. They were 6th rated in Ohio. He received first team All Greater Miami Conference honors, first team All City honors, All State, and he was a prep All-American in football. Taft All Opponent Team 1975. In 1976, the All Golden Triangle football team first team defense, and he was the Cincinnati Post All-Star Award 1976-77 and the Defensive Player of the Year. All-American Browder started in the Ohio All-Star Game in August of 1976. He played varsity basketball for 2 years and was a varsity track athlete for us for 2 years. After he graduated, he attended Colorado University and the University of Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. Stanley has coached youth basketball from 1st to 8th grade, where he enjoys watching the kids grow, develop skills on and off the court. God, his family, Princeton family, and sports have always been important to him. He comes from a strong and supportive family, and all of his siblings have graduated from Princeton. He is blessed with a loving wife, Tracy, their 3 children, Aja, Megan, and Stan Jr., and their 6 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, Stanley Browder.
Thanks. I start off by saying I wasn't sure why they started me. And I said, well, is it because I'm from the 70s that they wanted to make sure that, I just wouldn't pass out and not be able to come up, right? But thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you all so much. This really means a lot to me. I stand before all of you with deep gratitude and in great humility. I want to also express and thank the selection committee for selecting me at this time in my life. It's the right time for me. But as I was sitting there reading the bios, it just reminded me of all the moments. And I like to speak in moments. And it's moments like this. They mean a lot because I come to learn that there's one thing that the process revealed, that all those pinnacle achievements that we have, that we accomplish on the field, are simply byproducts of a lot of moments that have happened in our lives that made the foundation of the person you see standing before you now. Moments that, no matter how insignificant they seemed at the time, would shape my character and become the backdrop of my story today. So God blessed me, I guess you can say, with a little bit of talent. I could shoot a basketball. I had this discussion with Myron today. I won't deny or say, but I believe we beat them. He went all the way back to 6th grade to remind me that we beat them, but the team that beat us, they beat. So I guess that means we're all equal, I guess. I don't know. But he made a point, and he told me that was only one of 2 games he's ever cried at. So I don't know. But I also had a little bit of speed, so that's how I got on track. But I also did discus and shot put, some other things there. But there's just something about the game of football. When I could go and I could run with abandon and I could hit somebody and hit them viciously and not get in trouble for it, I was all good with that. So, I love it so much that on our street, we would play, especially in the wintertime. We'd play in the yards, there'd be snow on the ground. And we took on all the other neighborhoods, we took on all the streets. We didn't care. That's how competitive we were. And then we had an apartment building down the street that had a little larger field, and we played back there because it was a little bigger field, and that's where our Super Bowl was. So, now again, I will not, say I did or I didn't, but rumor has it that somebody played that game with no shoes on in the snow because they felt they could get better traction. Okay? So here's the thing. Competition teaches us about ourselves. It pushes and pulls us to things we might not try and change what we might not do. So again, like I said, we played it, and we played that game till it was dark, till we couldn't see the ball anymore, come home frozen, but we come back and we do it every weekend after that. And so football gave me the platform to help me grow as a man. But here's the thing I'm going to say, that regardless of if you're here as an individual or you're here as a team, it's really about the sum parts of everything and everybody who's been there. We all have someone who pushed us, someone who made us do a little bit more, someone we could rely on when we needed help out here. And it's one of those things too about Princeton, and I just want to say that all the people who loved me, supported me, my family's here to help me achieve my dreams, my parents, right here. My parents, they helped me try to stay on the right side and do the right thing. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. My incredible family, my loving wife, my beautiful children, grandkids, my in-laws, my lifelong friends, my high school teammates, because again, we don't do this by ourselves. Those were my guys. We did the two-a-days together. We went through that. We went to battle on Friday night together. And, we would laugh and crack jokes at and with each other. And I'm always thankful for them for pushing me and helping me get to where I was. But lastly, my encouraging coaches, the loyal mentors who have been a great part in who I am and what I believe. I've always strived and loved being coached, and I learned from some of the very best coaches in the business. So to all those coaches I had the honor of playing with, and some of these names you may not recognize, and it'll be something I'll talk about in a minute, but there was Coach Shuck. He was my first basketball coach at Princeton. Coach Shad, Coach Shans, Coach Mancuso, who gave me, as a young sophomore, the opportunity, the chance to start and to compete and lead on the varsity team. Coach Converse was my first defensive coach, and then on to Coach Cox, my senior year. To all of them, I say thank you. So lastly, I'd just like to say how lucky I feel to be a part of Princeton, because there's just something about Princeton. It was alluded to earlier. Yep, Princeton's really different. And there's a legacy that needs to be remembered. Like even some of these names I just mentioned, we all need to remember Princeton, because it's a place for all different types of people who come together. And you can get a great education here. You can get the support for coaching, for sports. Today, the arts. And as my friend Kelly, she was out today, the work that they did to get those murals over here. And that's all part of this legacy of Princeton. I mean, that was something unique, seeing those murals over at the old school, but now out here, okay? So we're kind of bringing that together. And on another side, this came to me. I recall Mr. Renner's pride. If you don't know who Mr. Renner is, he was a swim coach forever. And the joy that that Olympic swimming pool gave him over there. So much so that it was a part of prerequisite to graduate from Princeton. You had to learn how to swim, right? So we had a driver's ed simulator class, okay? I mean, think about it. Who else had that kind of stuff? That's Princeton. Princeton is different than everything else. There is something unique about Princeton, and I don't want to see us forget about things for where we are now. I was extremely grateful to be able to play football, but I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this class of 2021. But here's the thing. You still remember what it means to be a Viking. I know I do. And that's something that brings us together, something that keeps us together. And never forget what you represent. Once a Viking, always a Viking. And so, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every one of you in this room. I have great respect and admiration, and from the bottom of my heart, I love you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Stanley. Our next inductee is Brittany Dowdy. Brittany was a 2005 Princeton graduate. She was a member of our volleyball, basketball, and track and field programs. Brittany currently holds the record in discus for us at 127 feet, 5 inches. And in shot put, 41 feet, 10 and a half inches. And that's pretty close, Brittany, of throwing it out of our current pit today. Pretty close, 41 and a half. I think we're at 43 right now. So that would be amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment. During her basketball senior season, she was selected first team All Greater Miami Conference. She helped lead our Vikings to win the 2005 Greater Miami Conference Championship with a 15-1 league record. Brittany went on to play basketball and run track at Jackson State University. She was a commissioned Army officer through the ROTC program while at Jackson State. She's currently an Army veteran and holds a real estate license in Houston, Texas. Brittany Dowdy, 2005 Princeton graduate.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say that the picture was like freshman year. Y'all didn't run that past me. I didn't know how to do my hair. Me and my sister learned how to braid each other's hair like sophomore year. So next time, run the picture by me next time. First of all, I would like to give praise to God. This is a huge honor to be selected for the Princeton Hall of Fame class of 2021. I was completely surprised when Coach Duckworth called me. At first, I thought she was trying to buy a house. I was like, you looking to buy a house in Houston? But then I was surprised to be told that I'll be inducted into Princeton Hall of Fame. I would like to thank all the coaches I had along the way, Coach Duckworth, volleyball, Coach Nance, Coach Phillips, Coach Jemison, and Coach Andrews who taught me track. And then I'm going to give thanks to Coach Simons because he's sitting in the audience today, in junior high, my junior high coach. To still hold the track and field record shot put in this after all these years is due to great coaches I had along the way. I would also like to thank my brother Daniel because he's 3 years older than me and he did track with me as well at Princeton High School. And also my triplet sister. Sibling rivalry is real, so that was always the plan to beat my sister, and I was always successful. Thank you. Last but not least, I want to thank my mom, who put me and my siblings in every sporting activity she could to help keep us focused and active, but she was always supportive. So thank you, Mom. Thank you, God. Thank you, Princeton High.
That is a great picture of you as a freshman, by the way. Mrs. Wider remembers you like that because she had you and your two siblings all in 5th grade at the same time. She's a triplet. Our next inductee is John Russell. John could not be with us this evening. John was a 2002 Princeton graduate. He was a member of our football, soccer, and track and field teams. He was the 2002 state champion in pole vault with a 15-foot 6-inch mark. And he currently holds our school record in pole vault at a level of 15 feet 9 inches. And he accomplished that during his senior season. 2002 Princeton High School graduate, John Russell. Our final induction this evening is the 2003 Princeton High School men's state tennis champion team. The 2003 boys varsity tennis team put together an undefeated and record-breaking season to the school's first ever state team tennis championship, led by Coach Bob Korres. He was the Division I Enquirer Coach of the Year that year. Princeton was 20-0 and 9-0 in the GMC. The Vikings swept the conference tournament, winning every court, a feat that had not been accomplished prior to this season. The championship team included assistant coach Manis and assistant coach Schreiner. Members of the team were John Kaiser, Randy Lofgren, Mike Hurtline, Will Lofgren, Matt Muchley, Tony Toefl, Mike Streemeiter, and Andy Korres. Sophomore Tony Toefl and Mike Streemeiter and Andy Korres, Sophomore Tony Toefl finished runner-up in the state singles tournament. He was first team All-State. In the state doubles championship, Will Lofgren and Matt Muchley were runner-up. Both Will and Matt received first team All-State honors. Andy and Randy Lofgren were quarterfinalists during the state doubles tournament and were named second team All-State. And I've been bragging about this. I know that St. X match that year was the key match, and I've been telling everyone, but they defeated my alma mater that year, Lexington High School, to win the state tournament. So that was an incredible accomplishment and an incredible feat. So congratulations to the 2003 Princeton High School state champion boys tennis team. To accept and say a few words, we have Coach Bob Korres. Coach Korres.
Joe, you stole my speech, but I'm happy that you went over all the statistics with this amazing team. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee that nominated us as inductees for the 2021 class. We're thrilled, excited, and humbled. Standing behind me are some amazing tennis players and really good people. The 2003 team took shape actually in 2001 and 2. Sycamore High School had a 30-year stranglehold, sorry Jerry, on the GMC and a lot of Cincinnati tennis. 2001 and 2, we changed that. Part of that was Robbie Korres, one of the all-time best players at Princeton. Little prejudiced here. So Coach Doriana and I realized that we had something special possibly going on because we had a lot of folks back in 2003. So we decided that we'd talk to Queen City Racquet Club, as we always did, to get indoor courts and practice and have workouts early in February. So everybody bought into that, and we talked to them about commitment, goals for our team, and we had a chance to do something special. They bought into that. And as Joe said, we've got some people with incredible individual records, but it took the whole team to win the state. So I'd just like to embarrass a few of them. Where's Mikey? Right here. Mikey? Mikey saw limited action, but he was the heart and soul of our practices. He always had a smile on his face. He always worked really hard, and he had a winning record in varsity tennis. I also thought he came from a far distance to be here tonight. I saw him last night at the game, and I said, where are you now? And he said, Loveland. So, sorry, Marky. Someone who was unable to come from a far distance was Mike Hurtline, whose wife is about 9 months pregnant. He's out in New Jersey. And just to give you a little bit about, not too much in terms of statistics, because Joe said some of that, but Mike Hurtline was 17-3 and was all GMC. John Kaiser, there's John, that smiling face. John's record was 18-7. He was all GMC. He played singles and doubles for us, played some very key matches for us. And the best part for me sometimes was not only was he very, very much a hardworking player, but he was quiet. He was very quiet, which was sometimes a really good thing. Randy Lofgren? Where's Randy? Okay. Randy came from Charlotte with his lovely wife. Randy's record senior year was 33-3. He was all city, all GMC, and second team all state, and went on to an incredible career at Denison University. His big brother, Will, is next in line here. There he is. Okay. Will's record was 34-3. He was all city, all GMC, first team all state, and went on to tie his father Bill for the all-time most wins at Bradley University. I don't know how that became a tie, but the rumor is that Will refused to win the last match because he didn't want to beat his dad. I know Will as much more of a competitor than that, though. What's? That's probably right. Andy Korres, this is a bittersweet one. Record was 31-5. He was all city, all GMC, second team all state, and went on to play at Coastal Carolina. I didn't think I was going to get through that one. Tony Toefl, an incredible tennis player. His record was 31-3. He was all city. He was all GMC and first team all state. He went on to play at Louisville. We were given a gift prior to 2003 team, which we were loaded and ready, but one of the very best players in the conference decided to transfer. And we were very happy that Matt Matuli and all of his buddies from Queen City Racket Club, urging him to transfer, decided to come to Princeton. And that sort of was the icing on the cake. Matt had a 34-4 record, all GMC, all city, and first team, all state. I say these things like they're routine. They're amazing. They're just amazing. So, lastly, I'd just like to thank everyone. We're happy, humbled, and honored to be part of this class, and thank you very much. Oh, wait a sec. Oh my gosh. One more thing. The real coach of this team, Doriana James, who's deathly afraid right now that I waited this long so she could come up and speak, because she's not going to come up and speak. She's at least the co-coach of this team. She was the person that really kept me under control at moments when I maybe wasn't that under control. And we worked hard. Sometimes we would have a really easy match and come home, and everybody thought there was going to be an early day, and it was, no, we are going to practice now. So that was not a popular decision. So Doriana kind of monitored and appeased some of that activity. And so I'm very grateful to her for all she did for our team. And again, thank you so much. We're so happy to have been undefeated. Thank you.
Let's give a final round of applause to our 16th class. As we prepare to close out this evening again, we just want to thank everyone for being here. I want to reiterate the comments that Mr. Burton made. The power of Princeton, that's so beautiful to be a part of this and to watch how it develops over the years and the connectivity that everyone has. And it's just an amazing feat. I want to thank my wife, Kendra, for being here with us today. I want to thank Tricia Roddy and ICRC for helping us continue this and get the promotions through social media. I'd like to thank our athletic department staff, Matt Weber, who could not be with us this evening, Temet Duckworth, and the lady that keeps this whole thing going and refuses to have any type of recognition. Go ahead and stand. LaToya Luther. A couple of weeks ago, I had the wonderful opportunity to be able to attend LaToya and her entire family's baptism, and they invited us up to stand by the baptismal as she's getting there, and her pastor looks and sees me, and he says, "Is she like that with you? Does she yell at you and cuss at you and keep you in line?" I said, "Pastor, there's not a day that goes by that we don't walk in and that doesn't happen." So, LaToya, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everything you do to keep us moving and keeping us going in the right direction. So thank you for that. Thank you to the Convention Center. We'll look forward to doing this again next year. And again, to all of our Hall of Fame inductees, congratulations and welcome to a special class of Princeton. Good night, and as always, go Vikes! So all inductees, if you could, make your way right over here. We're going to get a group photo of everybody, and then there will be time for you to stay and entertain and get photos if you'd like. But if all of our inductees could come over to the screen to my left, we'll begin the photos, and that concludes our program for the evening. Thank you.